Hi folks, I'm Gino the Painting Acolyte, and welcome back to 5 Minute Miniature Mondays, a show where I pick a topic and kind of just talk about it for a bit. On today's episode, we're going to talk about what to do with bad miniatures. By this I mean, what to do with miniatures that you've painted badly. A lot of people get into this hobby without any kind of background in art, in models, anything at all related to the miniature hobby, and just kind of get into it completely on their own for the first time. And so, justifiably and understandably, their first work is probably pretty bad. Paint too thick, details obscured, globs of paint, the whole 9 yards. We've all seen the pictures. As a painter progresses in their skill, they might think back to those original paint jobs that they did and feel sort of shame. And that's natural. You're much better these days, and it can be kind of embarrassing to think back about some of the embarrassing mistakes that you made back when you were a beginner. You can be tempted to think of a few things to do with these models that you've painted way back in the past that just aren't quite up to snuff right now. The most common options that you think of are sell them or strip them and repaint them. And I'm here to tell you that the best thing to do with these bad models is nothing. It's very tempting to think about stripping all that old bad paint and trying again, painting it over. Miniatures are expensive, and the ones that you own, you want to be their best, right? That makes sense. And that's a fine way to think, except that you kind of fall into a few traps when you think like that. Firstly, you're always improving when you paint. So any past model that you've done isn't truly the best of your abilities, because every time you paint a new model, you'll grow in skill and ability. And so, every single time you paint something new, the previous ones aren't done to the best of your abilities. The best of your abilities are being used on the one you're painting right now. If you fall into a cycle then of stripping and then repainting miniatures that aren't the best that you can do, you'll just keep doing it with the same ones over and over again, and you'll never improve. You'll never experience different things. You'll never experience different techniques. You'll never experience different models. It sounds boring, to be honest. And what if you just want them out of sight, you know? Make some coin. You're strapped for cash, so sell your old models. Who cares? Someone else will do something with them. It's not your problem anymore, right? And, you know, that's really fine, and I can't really criticize anyone for wanting to use their money on newer and more engaging things. But I still think the best thing that you should do with your old models is hold on to them and to keep them. Keep your models. Because this hobby that we're in is a rare hobby wherein we actually have the ability to hold on to something, to look at the things that we make and see our skill progression over time. We have the ability to line up all of our models from the very first one that we painted to the very most recent one that we painted, and you could see an actual gradient of your skill improving if you line them in chronological order of how you painted them. You could point out different details so that you would improve. You could point out new techniques that you've realized over your painting journey. And that's a special feeling, to remind yourself of where you've been and how far you've come. That's important and good. If you don't keep all of your miniatures, I understand. They take up a lot of space, they're expensive, you could be using the space and money on other things. I understand, and that's fine. But I implore you, hold on to some, at least. Hold on to your very first miniature. I know it's embarrassing to think about how badly you painted it, but hold on to it. Hold on to different batches of miniatures. Maybe you've painted an army project and you don't need the whole army anymore, you're tired of that army, and you get rid of all the other ones. Well, hold on to one. Hold on to miniatures that you've painted in different periods of your hobby journey, so that whenever you're in the dumps, whenever you're feeling bad about what you're working on right now, you can look back at the things that you've done before, look back at the things that you've messed up before, look back at your previous mistakes, and think about how much you've improved since then, how much better you can do now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you have any ideas for different video topics that I should talk about in this series. That's all, and thanks. I'm Gino the Painting Acolyte, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.